Welcome to Live Before Lock for UFC Fight Island #1. Pete, how's it going, man?
What is going on, everybody? Thanks for joining us. Excited to have fights on a Wednesday, Jason. You know, it kind of breaks up the week a little bit. A little reminiscent to the Ultimate Fighter or Contender series. So, you know, this is nice.
Yes, of course, we are presented by SuperDraft. Going to tell you about a great offer that SuperDraft has for everyone watching here on the Awesemo YouTube channel. Of course, be sure to start hitting those questions in there. But Pete, before we get to the questions, got to talk about what happened yesterday at the weigh-ins. We lost a fight. 2 fighters missed weight. First off, in terms of the fight that we lost, that was Jorge Gonzalez against Kenneth Berg. Kenneth was deemed unfit to compete. So, and this was a fight that we had talked about on Monday about Gonzalez was a low price option we were looking at. So kind of, you know, with him now off the card, you know, talk about this process of elimination you're going through in terms of finding that low price option.
Yeah, immediately when I saw the news, I'm like, dang it. I had so much exposure to Gonzalez. So it definitely throws a monkey wrench in my lineups. So I basically had to go back and reevaluate and see where my exposure is. And I think the best way to do that before we get into questions is kind of look at every possible low option and see if we can eliminate some so that we can really target a selected, grouping of players in your player pool. So like, for instance, Aaron Phillips at 6,800, I have zero interest. I think I have like one lineup, and that's only because I'm like trying to spend up elsewhere. I don't expect him to win at all. He's a guy I crossed off. You talk about Lazzez now facing Razak Al-Hassan, who just missed weight and has been away from the cage for a little bit. And Lazzez is, you know, accustomed to Abu Dhabi. So potentially you could take a flyer here. I mean, he's a great striker, and his nickname's the Sniper because, you know, he's pretty technical, and he's going up in there against a guy who has crazy power and Razak Al-Hassan. But whenever you're facing a guy who's somewhat of a brawler, maybe a technician can outdo him in a fight. So he's a guy you can sprinkle in. I'm not too big on Ige this week. We talked about that. I like Kattar quite a bit. Mike Elias at 7,200. That's a tough fight, and it definitely favors Bukakis. John Phillips, 7,300, another guy I'm crossing off. So both Phillips, regardless of first name, not in my player pool, Jason. We talked about Laron Murphy at 7,400. I like him. Joe Jua at 7,600. Not really somebody I'm interested in at all. I'm trying to really make my options slim so I can make the chance of getting the optimal. And then Benoit, Stamen, and Fishgold, all decent options in the upper echelon of the 7K range.
Yeah, looking at Alex's projections on Awesemo.com. Of course, if you're an Awesemo Plus member, you know exactly what these numbers are. 6% for Aaron Phillips, 11% for John Phillips. Yeah, no thank you. John Phillips is about to get taken down at Takedown City, as we've talked about. Look, if John Phillips is going to pull off the upset, it's going to be with his hands. But yeah, and of course you mentioned about how Hassan and Fishgold, they both miss weight by 3 pounds. So we'll see, how that plays into factor. Also, do want to mention a tweet from Tyson Chartier. Tyson is the manager and coach of Calvin Kattar, and obviously it's the time difference is major over in Abu Dhabi, and so he sent this tweet at 11 a.m. East Coast time this morning. He says, "Time to go to sleep or get some sleep. It's 7 p here, 5:40 a.m. call time. It's technically fight day home, so there's happy fight day. Let's go." So it kind of shows you how one of the fighters in the main event is handling his sleep aspect for this, and that's something to definitely pay attention to. But of course, Pete, we are here to answer the listener questions here. Of course, be sure to pound that thumbs up button right now on YouTube. It does really help us out a lot, and keep those questions coming, and we'll get to you as we go on, leading up to UFC Fight Island #1. First up from Ty, he goes 2x2 FanDuel Cash, Al-Hassan and Belbita, or Shore and Murphy.
I would say it's FanDuel. I would actually say, and this is a little crazy for me, I would definitely say Al-Hassan and Belbita. I like the striking potential for both of them, and FanDuel definitely favors that.
Jared says, does the main event go the distance? I say no.
I think it goes the later rounds, but I think Kattar finishes them, inside the distance.
I wouldn't be surprised Calvin finishes within the first 10 minutes.
I don't know. I don't want to take anything away from Dan Ige. Dan Ige is really tough, Jason. But Dan Ige, we've seen he can take a shot, but he does get wobbled, and he's been put in bad positions. The one fight that does stick out to me as far as Calvin Kattar is kind of that Chris Fishgold first opening minutes in their bout of how he was aggressive with the hands and was kind of putting on pressure against Calvin Kattar, and then was able to take him down. But ultimately, Calvin Kattar got back to his feet, and it's just a more technical striker, so he ended up finding the home for that right hand. Dan Ige at 7,100, he's not a bad option if you think that he can last at least a couple rounds in there and get you some points. I just don't see him beating Calvin Kattar. I really don't. I think Kattar's hands are going to do enough to get the job done.
Chandler asked, FanDuel Cash, last piece, Gordon, Belvita, or Fishgold? Lean is to Gordon, but worried about that chin.
It's a great question. I'm pulling from my buddy, Jared Gordon here. I really am. As far as Fishgold missing weight, somebody tweeted me about this. I'm not thinking about that or taking that into consideration too much because Jared Gordon did, used to fight up at 155 pounds. So it's not like it's, unfamiliar territory dealing with a guy who's slightly heavier. Fishgold throws really, really aggressive hands. And you think of him as just a European grappler that likes to take his fighters to the mat, get submission wins. But he throws heavy, Jason, and we have seen Jared Gordon take some shots and not be able to handle it too well. I think that fight's going to finish inside the distance, and we mentioned that. But as far as the safe play of those three, I think Belvita gets it done pretty easily.
Next up, this comes from Joseph. For cash, I would say Belvita, she is probably the safest to go 3 rounds and accumulate points.
Yeah, I like it. I do like it. I like Belvita here. Now, let's not go too heavy on Belvita because let's remind ourselves that this is a lower level, female bout within the UFC. And anything can happen, and it's most likely going to go the distance. That's usually how those fights go. But the skill range, I think Belvita is, so much better than Jojua. But at that skill level, literally anything can happen. And it's not really like I've seen too much from Jojua to really think that she's going to go out and replicate her previous performance every time and not look good. She made it to the UFC for a reason. So, perhaps she's going to have moments here, but I think Belvita wins it.
The over 2.5 rounds on that fight is minus 225. So that gives you a little insight there. Matthew, Benoit or Stamen in FanDuel single entry?
Okay. Now, facing Tim Elliott, he has been struggling big time. Tim Elliott is 4-9 in his past 13, Jason. And we have seen him crumble under pressure. I was talking about Benoit, working with Gary Tonin, who's possibly the best grappler on the planet next to Gordon Ryan. I think Benoit can do enough to keep it on the feet and be able to win a decision. I just don't know if it's an optimal spot. As far as Stamen, let's think about Stamen. Stamen's coming off of an incredible win against Brian Kelleher, where it was at 145 pounds. They both are typically 135 pounders. Same in this case against Jimmy Rivera. Basically, our 35ers not wanting to cut weight and all of that. But Stamen looks really, really motivated and has he had a tragedy in his family of his brother passing away. And it's almost like you see a different type of approach where he's more aggressive on the feet. Perhaps he's a guy at 7,800 you could consider that a lot of people are probably going to be underweight on based on his box score between Rivera and Stamen. The likelihood it goes to a decision, and that neither one of them are really going to be able to get crazy high scores because Rivera has excellent takedown defense coming in at 95%. And if you look at Stamen's production, he does well with his hands and his legs, but the points come from takedown. So I just don't know if he's able to really take down Jimmy Rivera. Rivera was clipped and knocked down against Peter Yan several times. So maybe this is a case where being 145 pounds favors Stamen, Jason, because Stamen walks around like at 175 pounds. For him to be able to not have to cut to 135 pounds, I think he's going to hold a significant size advantage over Jimmy Rivera, even though it's not in the reach.
when you look at Cody Staman's history in the UFC, has not scored a finish. The best matchup that you look at from a DFS perspective would be his UFC debut against Tyrion Ware, where he landed 94 significant strikes, had 8 takedowns, and 6 passes. When you look at other fights where he scored multiple takedowns, he scored 4 takedowns against Tom Duquesnoy. That was in his second UFC fight. He had 5 takedowns against Song Yadong, which was a draw in that matchup. His 89 significant strikes that he's landed, that's the third most significant strikes he's landed in his UFC matchups. I mean, when we talked about fighters that we were pivoting to with Gonzalez out, Stamen was a guy I kept pivoting to. My thought is his ownership might be a little lower, but I am concerned that it maybe doesn't get the amount of points that you would like. Next up, Ty says, Elliott, Gordon, Belbita, Rivera for FanDuel cash. How would you rank them 1 through 4?
Well, Belbita, oddly enough, would be my 1 in that situation. It was Elliott, Benoit, and who else?
Elliott, Gordon, Rivera, Belbita.
I think Rivera might be one of the guys that I completely overlooked, and it's based on his production going up against an in-shape Cody Stamann. Rivera is really not known for his finishing ability either. You're paying $8,400. There's so many other nice spots there. If you're looking for an ultimate leverage play, I think it's Rivera and Stamann in that range. Elliott could break the slate, though, Jason. We talked about that, didn't we? About his production via the takedown and the pace and the pressure. It's hard to trust him, man. He's been 4-9, and he burned me so bad. I'm a little angry at him. But I could definitely. I have some lineups with Elliott. I'm not going to full fade him. So Belbita is my 1. What about you?
My number 1 in that case would be Elliott because of the upside.
Yeah, definitely has most upside.
If you get the Tim Elliott that shows up for when he fought Luis Smolka. So let me give you some stats here. He landed 56 significant strikes. 3 round fight. That's not the greatest. However, 12 takedowns, 1 submission, 14 passes. Yeah. That Tim Elliott, if he scores that type of fight tonight, he'll break the slate.
When was that, Jason?
That would have been in 2017. That would be his fight after the DJ fight.
And quite some time, man. And it's been quite some time. I definitely have my exposure, targeting this fight a little bit. But I don't feel good about it. I really don't.
But think about this. So if you think about his losing streak, the losses before Brandon Royval, Ashkar Askarov, and Davison Figueiredo. Those are tough. Those are not easy opponents. Davison Figueiredo is fighting for the title. Askarov is essentially a number 1 contenders fight on Saturday.
Yeah, it's true.
He's fighting the elite of the division.
Yeah, but there are sometimes like you need to look for tells too. And in his last fight, he was dominating. He gassed. But it's almost a will thing too, Jason. And it's like, I don't care what his resume says. What I saw with my own eyes is really taking me off him a little bit. I mean, if you go back in his career, he has, let's say the Jared Papazian fight. 7 takedowns, 9 advances. Luis Gaudino. I actually like Gaudino a lot. 6 takedowns, 6 advances. Luis Smolka, 12 takedowns, 14 advances. So, I mean, against Demetrius Johnson, 4 takedowns, 3 advances. So the potential is there. I just don't feel good about it because of what, the eye test, what I saw last fight. And I can't blame myself.
No, I mean, look, I don't disagree with you, but just that's why I think if there's someone that could break the slate, I think Tim Elliott is a guy that you have to look at just because of the type of fighter that he is. But this is the UFC Fight Island #1 live before lock show, and we are sponsored by SuperDraft. The future of daily fantasy sports has arrived. Experience SuperDraft's exclusive game mode multiplier. Say goodbye to salary restrictions and hello to lineup freedom. Use your fantasy sports knowledge to draft any player you want and build your very own dream team. Countless lineup possibilities let you experience daily fantasy sports the way you want. SuperDraft offers contests for PGA, NASCAR, and MMA, so you can enjoy the best of DFS all year round. Sign up for SuperDraft today using the promo code Awesemo10, and it's $10 free on your first deposit of $10 or more, and $20 total free on your first deposit of $100 or more. Download in the App Store or play at SuperDraft.io. SuperDraft, no limits, more winning. Of course, you always hear Pete and I talk about the great tools that are over at Awesemo Plus, and get access to all those great tools for the upcoming MMA DFS slate for this week. Of course, we got a fight card on Saturday as well with an Awesemo Plus MMA Weekly Pass for $8.95. This includes full access to Awesemo's leading fighter projections, ownership projections, and top fighter tool. There's never been a better time for MMA DFS, so step into the octagon today. Also, we do have a giveaway going on with the podcast. Check out the pin tweet on the Awesemo_com Twitter handle for a chance to win an Awesemo Plus monthly pass that gives you access to all the premium content, tools, and projections on Awesemo.com for 30 days. All you have to do is subscribe to the Awesemo podcast channel and leave a 5-star review with your Awesemo username or Twitter handle included. It's that easy. One lucky random winner will be announced this Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, so good luck. Well, let's get back to the questions. UK Cap, he goes, who are we liking for the captain spot?
FanDuel or DraftKings?
Does not say. I would guess he means FanDuel.
I think Al Hassan's a nice one. McCann's a sleeper. I like Shore, and I like Kattar. I mean, I'm only giving you top-end guys, but really, I think you need somebody in that position.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, because of obviously you got to pay up on DraftKings that captain spot, maybe that's where you put a Molly McCann in there to save some salary. I mean, if you put Calvin Kattar in that spot, you're paying up for that spot, so that's something to think about there. Kind of scrolling down here. Best cash plays on DK. That comes from Dan.
I think cash is tough this week, and I really do. It's because it's a limited amount of fights. And we lost a fight that I was really liking. You have some 7K options that even in wins don't really produce. I like Molly McCann in the mid-range at 8,200, though. If you're looking for a cash play, she's probably one of my favorites because I have a lot of faith in her. I like Kattar a lot. As far as that, like, your boy who you're obsessing over, Tim Elliott, he's okay.
I'm gonna FaceTime you tonight when he gets like 150 points. Go, I told you.
But look,
I told you, bum.
Yeah. All right. So I'm seeing the chat, and I love everybody's comments saying I might be short-sighted. And Rick, shout out to Rick. I could be. I very well could be, and it could be because like Brandon Royval's a crazy good submission artist. He really is. But it's not. I'm not just talking about the result. I'm talking about like scrambles wise, cardio wise, how quick a guy taps. I know he gassed, but why can't he gas here again, Jason, against Ryan Benoit? Because Benoit can't really scramble as well as Brandon Royval or threaten with submissions. Maybe Benoit's going to look for a leg lock. He's been working with Gary Tonin. You don't know, but Elliott's pace is definitely the difference maker in this matchup, and that's something you have to consider as far as DFS potential.
Also, I think he's had longer to prepare for this fight. Also being, I think, at Glory, having more training partners, I think that plays into it as well.
Okay. Where's Brandon Royval from?
He trains out of Factory X.
Okay.
In Colorado.
Okay. But as far as like Tim Elliott, like, I don't know. It's just hard. I'm looking at his overall UFC career. Benoit's really nothing special at 7,700 either. I mean, I'm not expecting Benoit to have the best performance, but definitely a fight to consider.
Next up, this comes from Andrew. He says, how do you guys feel about Shore in the MVP spot on FanDuel?
I like it. I do like it. I mean, goodness, what's Shore's price? Let me see on FanDuel. $20. That's not too. I mean, it's kind of high. The issue there is
it's that. I think the price point is deserved.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Let me look at this. Let me check this out real quick. Aaron Phillips. Is that the first fight of the night now, Jason?
Yes.
So Aaron Phillips lost a decision to Sam Sicilian in the UFC, lost a decision to Matt Hobar. So he hasn't been finished in the UFC. As far as in his career, I don't believe he's been finished. Oh, injury. So he was technically finished by Chris Gutierrez. I think Jack Shore could go in there and actually put him away, even though he hasn't been put away in the past too much.
Yeah, just double check. Yeah, Shore Phillips is the first fight of the night.
Okay.
Next up, I want to mention this because someone mentioned about fighters missing weight. So this was after one of the fighters last week had missed weight. Jedi Goodman is a great follow on Twitter if you're not following him. He said UFC fighters that have missed weight this year are 3-8. They have lost the last 8 in a row, and I believe the second fighter that fell to miss weight last week made it. So that ended that streak, but that gives you a little bit of an idea there. Is there any reason to play Shore on SuperDraft at 1x? I just can't justify it.
Oof. 1x. The guy could go out there and just put on a clinic. I mean, it's a very nice spot against a guy that I've watched not really handle takedowns well outside the UFC. I like Shore here a lot. I'm a DraftKings type of guy, so I know what DraftKings. I like him. I have plenty of shares. As far as FanDuel at 20, favoring strikers, it's going to be more grappling heavy, but it definitely has potential.
Lincoln in chat brings up about he goes, isn't money coming in on Andreas? And that is correct. That is the fight that has moved the most in the last 24 hours. It's moved 25%. So earlier this week, you could have got Andreas as high as about plus 175. He is now plus 135. So a lot of money coming on him. The next largest is Tim Elliott, your boy.
I don't know. I feel like we should wager something here, Jason. A little 20 push-up action. I don't know, because I'm not.
Look. I don't want another picture of Bree looking at you like, what's he doing?
Well, look at. I mean, that bet would definitely be favored in your direction. As far as Michailidis, right, 7,200. I think the reason the money's coming in on him is because people are starting to do their research and see what Bukakis is. He's a big guy, man. 6'3". He looks massive for that weight class, Jason. And Michailidis is 6 feet, but for just the eye test, it looks like Michailidis is a true 185-pounder and not a 205er. Looks huge. Down in every fight, and then somehow makes his way back to the cage and stands up and has to, withstand a lot of adversity as far as takedowns. So I looked at a bunch of tape last night of Bukakis. Excellent hands. Has been knocked out in the past by a guy that really didn't have too much power, but clipped him with a right hand. I could see Michailidis clipping him with something powerful. He throws a lot of spinning techniques, lots of power, but also resorts to takedowns, Jason. I just don't know if he's big enough to keep him down. Because Michailidis is strong, but Bukakis is huge. So I have plenty of shares of Michailidis, tempering my expectations a little bit, but he's definitely a 7K option to consider.
Shore or Kattar FanDuel GPP MVP?
Shore or Kattar FanDuel MVP? I like Kattar. I do, and I think it's because of the 5 rounds, and I think the accumulation of strikes. Also, something to consider, right? Shore's going to be going for takedowns, right? So he's a nice DraftKings guy, and if he gets a finish, it doesn't matter. But Ige is going to be looking to take Kattar to the mat plenty of times. So you can get that, defended takedowns, defended submissions, working back to his feet. I like Kattar here, regardless of the site.
Appreciate everyone watching. Be sure to give us a thumbs up right here on YouTube. That does help Pete and I out a lot. Anthony goes, who do you think scores more tonight between Shore and Al Hassan?
I think Shore. I do. If Al Hassan goes out there and throws a Francis Ngannou 6 punches, he'll score well, but not necessarily with the accumulation of strikes. I think Phillips is going to be tough to survive a lot. Apparently, he's good on the ground. I just don't think that he's going to be able to deal with Shore, and I think the finish comes late.
It was Johnny's asking about Al-Hassan's opponent really being the underdog. Yeah, when you look at Al-Hassan and what he's done in the UFC, even though he's been out for 2 years, yeah, no surprise he's a big betting favorite there.
Yeah, definitely the A side of the fight. Just how did he handle the weight cut? He missed weight. How's he handling it over there in Abu Dhabi, where Lazzez is from that area? So, somebody to consider. I think that you can get crazy low ownership on Lazzez, and somebody's getting dropped. Somebody's getting dropped.
We have his ownership at 15% projection.
Yeah, that's pretty low. I mean, that's pretty low. I think it might be a little bit less.
Third lowest.
Who's below him? The Sue Phillips, right?
Yeah.
What's that tell you? I mean,
yeah, that is the projection on DraftKings, on FanDuel. Same three fighters, 11% for Lazzez, 8.5 for John, and then 6.6 for Aaron.
Okay, ready? Let's try to think all possibilities right now, Jason. John Phillips. 22-9, 1-3 in the UFC. Can't take down anything. Can't even defend anything.
Can't stop a takedown, no.
Chimaev can take down a bear, all right? What do you think here? Do you think Phillips clips him at all? Do you have any shares of John Phillips? Because I have zero, just because of what I've seen from Chimaev on film.
Yeah, zero shares.
Okay, he's the ultimate leverage play, though, wouldn't you say? Because he does have upside. When he wins big.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. But, I mean, I wouldn't feel good at all of putting John Phillips in my lineup.
100 times they fight. How many times does Chimaev win? 99? That's what I feel confident in.
I was going to say 90.
Yeah, that's my confidence, too. Okay, good.
Yeah. Next up, Travis goes Fishgold and Gordon, SMH. I can't decide for my last pick.
I tell you, that's where I'm like that 60-40. That fight I think is pivotal, man. I really do.
We talked a lot about Andreas and Modestas. Someone asked who wins.
Ugh.
It's hard for me to go against Modestas because, look, I mean, he's a Cage Warriors champion. Cage Warrior fighters have fared pretty well in the UFC. I mean, it's kind of hard. And you mentioned about, I mean, he's a big boy, 205.
He's huge, and he looks in shape, man. Another fighter. So I mean, for DraftKings, he's not one of my favorite 9K options. So Michaelides can definitely do it and get it done. Do I think Bukakis probably wins? Probably. Another guy that looked incredible throughout training camp, and he just looks great physique-wise. It's Laron Murphy. He looks shredded, Jason. That guy looks incredible for his weight class. I really think he might surprise at 7,400.
I know you're the IG stalker. I know.
I have to be for you guys. I do it all for you guys. But also, man, I'm invested in this. I enjoy it.
Look, I saw I sent you the post of Frankie Yeager about a week ago. Frankie was looking shredded.
Yeah, should have been at that weight class his whole career.
Yeah. GQ asks Belbita or Elliott GPP.
You're going your boy Elliott. I'm going to go Belbita.
But you know the upside is so much higher on Tim. You know it.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not sitting here going, oh no. I'm not saying no doubt Tim wins. But when I'm looking at fighters that if Tim Elliott wins, good chance he's in the optimal lineup.
I go with that. I agree. I like Belbita though.
Look, I know you should agree with me. Come on.
I'm going Belbita, dude. You can stick with your boy Elliott.
FanDuel Cash, Shore or Al-Hassan?
Ooh, that might be one of the few times where I look at Al-Hassan based on the striking production and the striking strategy, whereas Shore is going to be more I think I go Al-Hassan since it's FanDuel.
Anthony asks, does Shimaev get the first round win?
He could, and he could actually not produce that well because he does it so quickly. Almost like a Mirkani, where He was at 8,600. Got a very, very quick win over Danny Henry, and wasn't in the optimal.
Favorite GPP plays on DraftKings?
I like McCann. Now, the weird thing about that McCann-Santos fight is the line, right? When I made the graph, minus 120, plus 100. So that's a very tight fight. As far as, fight film is considered, McCann looks like she should be a bigger favorite than she is. Like, I'm telling you, what I saw from Santos is she almost looks like she can break, and it is a, mid-tier female fight, probably going the distance. Santos is probably somebody that could be a leverage play because I'm expecting McCann to have some heavy ownership based on her production.
Russell asks, is Michailidis the best low-value guy on FanDuel? If no, then who? So he is $11 on FanDuel. The only fighter cheaper on FanDuel is Aaron Phillips. You got John Phillips at $13, Jojua $13, Murphy $14.
Yeah.
McCann at 14. I mean, it's not 12 or 13, but I might go her at 14.
I like McCann a lot. I think that's a misprice. I really do. It's almost like how Rosa was mispriced last week on FanDuel as well, and we took advantage of that. I like McCann, 14. I'm not paying 18 for Ige. Maybe Stamen at 15 is something you could consider. Mm-hmm. Murphy at 14 is nice. I think the Fishgold and Gordon too. They're pretty close.
Russell says Shore is safest play. I'd agree with that. Yeah. He's a 7-1. He's a 7-1 betting favorite. Yeah,
I don't care what the odds say. At the end of the day, I know how little odds matter, but they have this one right. They really do. Shore is definitely the safest.
Yeah, when you look at the biggest betting favorites, Jake Shore minus 720. Then you got Chimaev, who's minus 420. Al Hassan minus 320.
It's close between Shore and Chimaev.
Yeah, your only fear is John Phillips can land a punch. I mean, he's got a puncher's chance. But if one takedown happens, you feel pretty confident
it's over,
in that.
It's over.
G says, how does Shore score? Speaking of those betting odds, he's minus 180 to win by submission. I think that's how the betting public thinks he's going to win.
Yeah, definitely. One-sided, definitely a one-sided fight. I'm excited though.
Best MVP cash play for FanDuel.
Cash, I'd say Kattar. Since it's cash, you want 5 rounds on your side. You can't get safer than that. Maybe Al Hassan as well.
Murphy or Ramos?
I'm thinking Murphy's able to get it done. The thing with Ramos is his takedowns and takedown ability. We have seen Murphy get taken down plenty of times. I'm just expecting a body shot or something to land for Murphy and him able to squeak out a decision.
Christian, appreciate your donation there in the SuperDraft, and
he might be right. He might be right. It could happen.
Yeah. Look. If Modestas wins, I do believe it'll be by knockout.
Christian, appreciate that.
Yeah. Franklin says stack the main event and a few lineups in a GPP. That would be a no for me.
Okay, so I'm not into stacking, but I think it's something you can consider, Jason, based on let's say a lot of the 7K options lose, right? And Ige makes it to rounds 4, and a lot of the 7K options lose. It could definitely work out if you're able to spend up elsewhere. Because who's near him? Aaron Phillips? Heck no. Lazez? Maybe. Ige? 7,100. If it goes the distance, John Phillips 7,300. Heck no to that as well. Michailidis, uphill battle against Christian's boy Bukakis.
Next up, more likely to win, Fishgold or McCann?
I'd say McCann. I would.
Machiavelli says Aaron Phillips first round KO plus 4,200.
Oh my gosh, he is a striker.
Shore Hassan or Chimanev, who are you most comfortable to fade on either site?
Shore at 9,400 is tough though, Jason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then he goes out there and doesn't have much resistance, and he's able to put away Phillips. He may not, pay off that. I'm going to say Al Hassan, though. I honestly will.
Yeah. Next question from Justin Sports. He says, is anybody going to score 100 points tonight? Yeah, you'll have multiple guys score 100 points.
Yeah, I think so. Would you say last week was pretty low scoring? I'm trying to remember. I think it was, right?
Well, let's see. You had Maricani got the stop. Davey Grant got, 124 points?
And optimal. It wasn't like a 750 night, right?
No. I think it was like 650, 700.
Mediocre. I think you might see more high scoring fights here. And thank you, News God. Appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, appreciate the tip there in the super chat. As always, much appreciated there.
629 was optimal. That's kind of low, though.
Nick noting Krause is back in Elliott's corner. Yeah, so it'll be James Krause. Grant Dawson will be in his corner as well. Grant's fight's on Saturday. So he went back to and the reason I definitely know he was at Glory was because when I talked to him, he was in Kansas City when we were talking, and there was training in Vegas early on this pandemic, and when he fought there, the gyms weren't necessarily open. He was training in his gym with his girlfriend, so that is something to note there.
Dude, these people kill me in his chat.
Stamen or Fishgold more likely to win?
You guys are really gonna make me pick against my boy. I think in that situation, Fishgold.
Who scores 100 points that's not 9K or more on DraftKings?
Ooh, DraftKings, my type of stuff. So, okay, if you look at box scores, let's look at box scores, right? McCann is 8,200, and she averages, Jason, 84 DraftKings points. The one issue is she has to deal with that 6-inch reach disadvantage. If she can get inside, I think that she does have potential to get a lot of points as well. You look at Gordon does average 71 points. I think somebody in that fight could also get you 100 points. I think somebody's getting finished.
This comes from Anthony. Benoit and Belbeta or Elliott and Fishgold for DraftKings GPP?
I'm going to say Benoit and Belbeta.
Okay. Next up, Skylar, appreciate the donation there in the super chat. He says, I'm extremely overweight on Kattar, Murphy, and McCann. Am I crazy?
I hope not, because I'm the same way. And, Murphy's in a tough fight. Let's not take anything away. And maybe I don't have enough exposure to Ramos, because Ramos is 5-1 in the UFC and does have 2 takedowns a fight, averages 68 DraftKings points. And we have seen Murphy get taken down against Tugagov, and he gets back to his feet and he's strong. But maybe Ramos takes him down and is able to submit him. That's definitely a possibility, and he definitely could be somebody that's overlooked at 8,800. I probably don't have enough of him, but as far as a guy that could get me a TKO and hurt Ramos to the body with aggression and just the way that Murphy's physique looks, I really think that he's going to be the stronger guy in there.
Russell says, who is the safest $15 option on FanDuel?
15 and under or 15? 15. Let's just say 15. So you have Fishgold, Santos, Stamen, Benoit. Who you picking?
Say it again one more time.
Fishgold, Santos, Stamen, Benoit. Think FanDuel now. Stamen's not going to be able to take down.
I might go Fishgold.
I think I would agree with you. Stamen's not going to be able to take down Rivera. So maybe that fight, maybe the production's going to be inflated a little bit because they're going to be on the feet the whole time. Kind of like you even think about his Kelleher fight, he was able to take him down. I think I'd agree with you saying Fishgold at 15 is probably a guy that could definitely get the finish.
Ryan asks, who's a good cheap option below 14 on FanDuel?
Cheap option below 14. Let me look. So you got Lazez at 12.
Are we including $14, or has it got to be under 14?
Well,
if we're including 14, Molly McCann.
Yeah, agreed. So let's say it like that. If you're including 14, McCann's in there. Lazez 12. John Phillips 13. No, thank you. Murphy at 14. Consider him. Michaelides at 11, dude. That's a cheap play. That if he goes the takedown route or throws some spinning stuff, could definitely get it done. Joe Jula, literally no interest at 13. Phillips at 10, no interest. Yeah, limited options there.
Yeah. Douglas says, who's a sleeper pick on DraftKings?
Sleeper pick on DraftKings. Maybe Cody Stamen. Okay, and maybe
have some low ownership.
Yeah, low ownership, and it's tough to predict how fights are going to go. Maybe he was throwing heavy against Kelleher. Maybe he cracks Rivera and ends up getting a finish. I picked Rivera to win the fight on points, but Stamen's 5-1 and 1 in the UFC. He's looked really, really good and has been able to be in there against guys like Song Yudong, who throws a lot heavier than Jimmy Rivera. And he's going to have the size advantage as far as weight-wise in this matchup. Definitely somebody to consider at 7,800.
Brad asks, top 3 core picks on DraftKings.
Okay. Core picks. So I have Molly McCann, Chimaev, and Kattar in a ton. That's basically my 3. We got almost 600 people in there. Awesome, guys. If you guys can hit that thumbs up for us, we'd really appreciate it.
Is Ige valuable? That comes from Samuel. Or viable, excuse me.
Okay, what's the likelihood he's able to survive a lot of Kattar's strikes?
Early on, I think he can, but I think as the volume mounts up, I think as a Calvin backer in this one, I think my only concern would be is that forward pressure that Dan Ige brings. But I know I've heard some people say, he's going to be, his gas tank's going to be there. Well, is it going to be there for 5 rounds? Because we've seen there from 3 rounds. It's a big difference, and I think this is a big step up in competition for Dan Ige, and I truly believe if Dan Ige wins, it's because he gets the fight to the ground. I don't necessarily see the path to where he can win a stand up fight.
Okay, let's take quarantine, right? Because clearly these quarantine fights have not been normal. Jason, think of the quarantine main events. How many times we've seen guys upset people? Been quite a bit. You think about Justin Gaethje. You think about Glover Teixeira. What else can we think of? Quarantine fights have been nuts.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to really get behind Dan Ige because I know Calvin personally. I've sparred with him. I know his coaches. I know how good he is. I think we've seen Dan Ige struggle on the Contender Series. That's the truth. I know it's like 2 or 3 years removed, but still. And did he win that fight against Edson Barboza?
Not in my book.
I would lean no. So I like Kattar a lot. But at 7,100, does he have to win in order to pay off the salary? Look at Max Holloway. Even though Max should have won the fight, let's be real, he still was in the optimal.
When I think about the Ige Barboza fight, it's what I believe is wrong with the MMA scoring system.
Yeah.
There is too much weight put on the ability to get a takedown as opposed to you defend a takedown.
You don't get rewarded.
And you know this as a striker.
Yeah.
You could sit there and stop 10 takedowns in a fight. But if that opponent gets a takedown in the 11th fight, it is weighed way more than all those takedowns you defended.
Oh, of course. I mean, you're really, in the judges' eyes, they don't value defensive anything.
No.
You know, if you're defending, you're losing. Isn't that the simplest way to put it?
Mm-hmm.
If you're defending submissions, you're losing. If you're defending takedowns, you're losing. So, of course, a takedown will move the needle as far as judges are concerned. Fishgold did take down Calvin Kattar, but as a guy that knows Calvin Kattar's jiu-jitsu coaches as well, he's well schooled on the mat. He is. He'll get back to his feet. He's strong. He's big. I like Kattar's chances.
Of course, this is the UFC Fight Island #1 live before lock show. Of course, that is the fighter Pete Rogers Jr. I am Jason Floyd, and we are sponsored by SuperDraft. The future of daily fantasy sports has arrived. Experience SuperDraft's exclusive game mode multiplier. Say goodbye to salary restrictions and hello to lineup freedom. Use your fantasy sports knowledge to draft any player you want and build your very own dream team. Countless lineup possibilities let you experience daily fantasy sports the way you want. SuperDraft offers contests for PGA, NASCAR, and MMA, so you can enjoy the best of DFS all year round. Sign up for SuperDraft today using the promo code Awesemo10, and it's $10 free on your first deposit of $10 or more, and $20 total free on your first deposit of $100 or more. Download in the App Store or play at superdraft.io. SuperDraft, no limits, more winning. Now, as we all know, many sports may be on hiatus, but Awesemo Plus isn't. Sign up today for a platinum package, which includes access to all of Awesemo Plus's projections, tools, and content for PGA, esports, NASCAR, MMA, and soccer, and KBO baseball. You can review your membership options by clicking the Awesemo Plus tab in the upper left-hand corner of the Awesemo.com homepage. Of course, be sure to be following Awesemo on social media, as we will be providing free Awesemo Plus player projections. And for tonight's UFC card, that is for Calvin Kattar and Jack Shore, and more on Awesemo. And be sure to follow Awesemo on Instagram at Awesemo_com and on Facebook. So make sure to give them a follow. Let's get right back to the questions, Pete. Let's go to Lee, who says, who do you like most as MVP on FanDuel, Shimanev or Al Hassan?
I think Chimaev doesn't really face too much resistance in this matchup against John Phillips, whereas Al Hassan might have to deal with the range of Lazzez. Has been away from the cage for a little bit. I don't think, Al Hassan's a bad pick at all, but Chimaev at 18 is something I really like.
Gia says a Shore finish.
I'm going to say no. I don't know. It's so tough. Phillips hasn't been finishing the UFC, but I think I'll say late finish. I did mention late finish before, so I'm going to stick to it.
What do we think is the upside of Belbita on DraftKings?
I think she can get 100 based on accumulation of strikes if she goes the same strategy as before. McCann really got in her face and brought it to her, so I like Belbita a lot.
Someone mentioned this about doesn't believe that Shore doesn't need a finish, talking about the amount of times he could take him down in 3 rounds. Would you agree with that?
That he does or does not?
Does not. Because he can take him down at will.
I don't. He was able to advance upon his previous opponent a lot. So that's why his score was so inflated and got 121. Say he gets 115, is 9,400. Is that paying off his salary? It's kind of, right? It's almost like a push.
You'd more want like 130.
Yeah, I agree. He could do it, though. I mean, he definitely could do it. Now, imagine if he does all that and gets a finish. Now you're talking.
David says, Stamen, Michailidis, Fishgold in the optimal lineup on DraftKings.
I think a lot of people are going to make Michailidis pretty popular. I think Bukauskas at 9K might actually be a guy you could look to target because people are hurting for a 7K option, right? I mean, if you want to look at it the other way, this Gonzalez being out of our picking, Bukauskas is going to come in so low owned because people are searching for Michailidis at 7,200. So He might be right.
Do you still like Murphy on getting the win?
I do. I do like Murphy to get the win.
Yeah. Are Michailidis and Murphy too risky to play in the same lineup?
No, because a lot of the 9K options are attractive. So in order to do that, you have to go a little cheap in some areas. So I have plenty of lineups like that.
Shore, Alisson, Chimanev, who are you most comfortable to fade? I think I might have answered that question a little earlier. Benoit or Stamen if he had to choose.
Ooh. You tell me Stamen beats Rivera, I'm really not surprised. You tell me Benoit does anything and has actual DFS production, I'd be a little surprised, even though I think he's going to be able to do it and win. I think Benoit. Yeah, I'm taking Benoit.
My question screen kind of scrolled on me, so I'm trying to get back to where I was.
Just want to say props to Jason for always doing the ad reads for us. Jason.
Let's see here. Ige still wearing the Barboza damage.
I saw somebody mention in the chat they don't think Kattar's on the same level of striking that Barboza is. What's your take on that? Definitely different type of striker. Let's be
real. They're two different strikers. Barboza is so leg kick driven, where Calvin's a boxer.
Yeah,
it's just different.
So Calvin probably has some of the best hands in the UFC. Let's be real. Barboza used to be incredible, and you saw him really beat the brakes off of Dan Hooker. That's based on tons of leg kicks. But when he was fighting Dan Ige, you got to be careful when you're throwing kicks against a wrestler because you don't want them to catch the kick and take you down. So I think Kattar's going to be able to do it, man. I really do.
Joe, appreciate your donation there in the Super Chat. He says, who has the biggest chance to get an upset tonight? Kattar, Alisson, or Chimanev? I'm thinking Kattar if Ige gets constant pressure and gets his takedowns. By the way, you the man, Pete.
Oh, thank you, Joe. Biggest chance to get upset tonight.
Yeah.
Chimaev's not getting upset. I don't care. I'm going to go down with that, If
don't say that L word.
Lock in Chimaev. Okay,
I'm taking Chimaev on my word. So just because you said that,
you ain't gonna take Phillips, bro. There's no way you take Phillips. So now Kattar or Al Hassan, who is more likely to get upset? Let's think about that. I'd say Al Hassan.
Yeah, I mean, someone asked about if we could talk about Alisson at the weigh-ins. I will tell you this, and I guess it primarily goes to watching a IG live video Rob Font did, where he is walking around Yas Island and just dripping sweat through all of his clothes. And my thought is, how is someone going to miss weight?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you can't say that you had a hard time cutting weight out there. The only thing that can be manipulated and can be a little tough is the flight over, obviously, right? Yeah. So it's like the flight over, the food, the time, holding water on the flight. Like, you have to take that into consideration. But that goes to tell you is that people didn't cut weight early enough and that they waited a little too late.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Were you just too big? I mean, I think on Saturday, Figueiredo, I think that's going to be the one that should be concerning. The fact that he just got to Abu Dhabi yesterday. He's got a quarantine for 48 hours and weigh in on Friday.
Right.
I know his manager says he's walking around 135 pounds, but that definitely to me is a little concerning. Mike asked about Kattar and Ige together. I'm not a big one on that one.
I'm doing it, Jason, in a couple lineups. Now, that's a cash strategy, and I did say that I think Kattar finishes them. But what 7K options in the lower half are you feeling confident in? It's tough. Boy, Gonzalez out, so...
Yeah, that 7K options is just not.
They're brutal.
There's not a ton that's appealing to me. Elliott or Gordon, FanDuel.
I'm saying Gordon. He likes to strike, likes ground and pound, has decent takedown defense. As long as he can avoid the big shot from Fishgold, which Fishgold will be throwing, I think Gordon can do it.
Someone asked about Ige's, his ownership. We got him projected at 35%. Chimaev or Shore on FanDuel?
Chimaev at 18. Shore is 20. I'm saying Chimaev. Give me the discount. Give me the quicker finish. I think he goes in there and does it.
Sneaky pick for single entry. Molly McCann?
Yeah, but why are the odds so close?
Maybe Belbeda.
Yeah.
Could have some low ownership.
Do you have any take on why the odds are so close? Why? Why? For everything I've seen, McCann has 4 UFC fights. Are they really taking into consideration that 6-inch reach disadvantage? And they think
I think so.
That's why?
Yeah, could be.
That's why, though?
Favorite under 8K plays on DraftKings.
Okay. You have to look at Fishgold. You have to. You really do. And I think Gordon's going to do it. But go ahead.
And Gordon's chin has been, we've seen it get, there's valid concerns there.
And he's cutting weight, Jason. He's at 45 now. And let me tell you, as a guy that has cut a lot of weight, you feel shots a lot more when you're cutting weight. You really do. You really, really do. So, I don't know. I like Murphy. The problem is if he just gets taken down to Takedown City. Maybe Ramos takes him to Takedown City.
Yeah. William says single bullet GPP must-have player.
Chimaev.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Another comment says Murphy going to get out-grappled.
That's a concern. Legitimate concern.
Favorite 9K option on DraftKings GPP?
9,400 so much. Why does he have to be 9,400?
Because he's a 7-1 betting favorite.
Okay, yeah. I get it, Jason. I'm just saying. Okay? Cut me some slack. I know.
I'm just being honest.
I know that's why he's 9,400, Jason. I'm saying, why couldn't they give us a gift here?
Because the betting public loves him too much.
It's true. You talk about a guy that had a ton of hype. Okay.
Look, this is where you wish DraftKings would make the salaries based on the opening odds, not the odds after it's been bet up and bet down.
Yeah, right. Who's the lowest owned 9K option? I want to hear it.
Lowest owned. You'd have to say Modestas.
Yeah, Bukakis for sure.
Has to be.
Everybody's looking at Michaelidis as a cheap play.
But by the way, when Jack Shore opened, he was a 5.5 to 1 betting favorite.
Wow, he got hammered.
Opened. So people hadn't even started betting the fight yet. So that tells you what the odd makers thought about it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Fishgold or Stamen?
Fishgold finishing upside. Hurts me to say.
Underdog most likely to win by TKO.
Okay, let me look. Ige, no. Benoit, no. Stamen, no. Santos, no. Lazez, that's a reach. That is a reach. John Phillips, no. I might say Laurent Murphy, plus 135. Michaelidis could literally just look to take down Bukakis and just lay on him.
Another comment says, with people going Kattar and Shore at MVP on FanDuel, is Chimaev the most overlooked MVP? If not, who is?
I'd be surprised if he's really overlooked. I like Chimaev a lot, and I know he's not a striker, but he's a quick finisher. The guy has 6 finishes out of 6 fights against a guy that, gets taken down by a large gust of wind. So give me Chimaev at 18 for sure.
Be sure to hit that thumbs up button if you like what you're hearing. Of course, by the way, we'll be back tomorrow night for UFC Fight Island #2 strategy show. Then, of course, on Saturday, we'll have live before lock for that one. Evan says, Belbita, Gordon, Elliott. Last piece in cash games. Should I get a little riskier with Elliott?
Go ahead. He's speaking to you. Go ahead.
Why do you hate Tim Elliott so much?
Because, dude, I was all over him. I don't want to pick the guy, okay? It's just, but I think cash wise, it's up between him and Belbita.
I'm gonna give Tim Elliott your number so he can FaceTime you.
Anytime. We
really haven't talked about some of the lines on SuperDraft. Because someone had asked about some of the love there on SuperDraft, and I just want to. I've got a lot of sheets of paper in front of me here. Man, look, if you think Andreas is going to pull off the upset at 1.55 times, man, that sticks out to you. Someone asked a question about Jake Shore at 1 times, man. I think that's pretty tough to take.
I don't know if that's a super draft type of guy.
You love Ryan Benoit. 1.5 times.
Who?
Ryan Benoit, 1.5.
He just doesn't do enough, though. He might be stuck in that defending everything type of thing and somehow get a decision. But Belbita at 1.3, Jason, I like that. I like McCann at 1.3.
By the way, I love Joe in the super chat. I'm going to die laughing if Pete doesn't have Elliott tonight and he absolutely goes insane.
Probably. I probably will. I have Elliott, so don't worry, Joe. I have Elliott. I ain't stupid. But do I have the right formula with Elliott? Because, okay, so say this, right? I have a good good feeling about this card. I feel like I'm taking this thing down, Jason. What are you gonna do if my optimal lineup has Elliott? Do I have to call him or something?
No, I'm gonna say God bless you, bro. Yeah. That's all I'm gonna say. God bless you. Cat, get that money.
Yeah, but I'll have to do
no. Here's what's gonna piss. No, here's what's gonna piss you off. If Elliott is a missing piece from you having an optimal lineup.
With my luck, and I just saw the contest is full, and I think it filled up pretty quickly, at 4 or whatever. I will die laughing. I'll be so angry. I will be dying laughing.
Should I go heavy on Al Hassan? Only worried about him being off for 2 years.
Okay, so I've been. What would you say for my career, Jason? I've been pretty inactive. What did you say as far as not going fight after fight after fight? So I know a lot about, I guess, cage rust or being away from it. It's really all how he handles it. Maybe with this legal stuff behind him now, maybe he's gonna be able to relax. It's tough, though, to come back just right out the gate and face somebody who's tough. But the guy's never had a UFC fight in Lizette. So I like Al Hassan quite a bit at 9,200. Despite all the X factors, I think he still gets it done.
You would say Shimaev will be in the optimal lineup?
He might get it done too quickly where he's not. But I think in order to cash, I think Chimaev is a no-brainer. Just check him off.
By the way, I don't know if you saw Michael's comment in the chat. He says, don't lose any more push-up bets or you might be fighting at 170 because you are so yoked.
Dude, he might be right, man. He might be right. Appreciate the love.
Have you stepped on the scale recently?
Yeah, what do you think I'm at?
So you want to fight at 55 now. Okay, I'm going to say you're at 80.
I'm not. I'm 177. 178.
Okay, that's not bad.
Bro, I graduated high school at 133 pounds. 133 pounds. And I literally, for most of my 145-pound career, I was no heavier than 160. These last couple of years, though, it's been 168 to 145, which sucks. But, if you think about, bringing it back to this fight card, let's say Stamen, right? Stamen says he walks around at 175 and he gets to 35. How nuts is that, Jason? That is nuts. How does he do that?
Dude, I don't know. Johnny asked Stamen Rivera in the optimal lineup.
You could look at an under-owned fight right there. That could be a very under-owned fight based on their production. It's pretty mediocre. It's an even fight. Let's go like this, right? Rivera, 4 strikes a minute. Stamen, 4.5 strikes a minute. Striking accuracy for both of them in the 40%. Strikes absorbed, both 3.8 and 3.17 respectively. Striking defense, 61%, 65%. Takedown defense, 95%, 84%. Does that sound like a very closely contested bout or what? But stranger things have happened when you're swinging 4-ounce gloves. So, you never know.
King Pay says, is Bukakis versus Michailidis a fight that's a must-have, or can we fade it?
I think Bukakis comes in pretty low owned, man. I do. If it gets out of the, first round, I feel pretty good that it's not in the optimal. But I think Bukakis has to, respect Michailidis, unless he goes in there and just, really is such a big guy and dwarfs him. And that could be the case here. But I definitely have some shares. The price of 7,200 is too enticing.
Pierce says, rank the 3 on who scores the most. McCann, Gordon, Elliott.
Oh, God. Go ahead. Elliott, 1 for you. I think it's close between McCann and Elliott. I do.
I would go Elliott, McCann, Gordon.
I think in that situation, Gordon would be my least favorite. Crazy enough.
Better pick between Lerone Murphy and Cody Stamann.
We've seen Stamann do some great things, and his best work was lately. I think he's the safer play than Lerone Murphy. Lerone Murphy's facing a guy who's really good at taking people down, has a ton of hype behind him. But in saying that, I like Murphy's chances of hitting him with something big here and getting the finish. So in that scenario, I'd say Stamann.
DraftKings 2x2, Shore, Lazez, or Alhassan Andreas.
Shore, Lazez, or Alhassan. I'd say Alhassan and Andreas Michailidis.
FanDuel MVP suggestions.
Chimaev, Alhassan, McCann. You think Elliott's more of a FanDuel guy or DraftKings guy?
DraftKings.
I agree. Yep.
Samuel says, will the captain on DK is valuable in SuperDraft as well? I think it depends on who you're talking about.
It's hard, man. It's hard. Let me pull that up.
Because if you look at some of the the top people you would look at in the captain spot on the other one. So Calvin Kattar, he's 1.1 times. Alhassan 1.1 times. Shore is 1 times. Chimaev is 1.2 times. I mean, Chimaev would be probably the one you would think.
Yeah, I agree. I like his chances of getting a quick finish. Cool. We still got 500 people in here. We appreciate you guys. You guys can hammer that like button, get us to 200. Man, you make my day. And I hope one of you guys wins tonight, wins big. I would love nothing more to see somebody screenshot, 100K this week? 100K.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I'm playing majority single entries.
I'm playing a little too much tonight is what I'm playing.
Milan asked about what we think the ownership for Alhassan would be.
I think pretty decent. Look at his track record. The guy has he's averaging 97 DraftKings points. You look at his average fight time in the UFC, 4 minutes and 22 seconds. That is bananas.
Yeah, we got him projected at 47%.
Yeah, that's warranted.
Must roster fights for DraftKings.
That could be one that ends early. I think you need Kattar.
Who do you put on your captain spot on SuperDraft?
What's the thing on SuperDraft? If they get you get the multiplier and then an additional 0.5 or additional 1.5.
1.5, I believe it is. I'm double checking right now for you to double check. It's plus 50%. So, like Jake Shore, you're 1.5 times. Alisson, 1.65 times. Cater, 1.65. Bukakis, 1.75.
Maybe
Tim Elliott, 1.75.
Maybe in that situation, right? You only put Shore in as the MVP over at SuperDraft and not in a traditional spot. Like, if you know what I'm saying? That because he's gonna have a ton of points, bro.
Logan asked, do we think the 4th and 5th round should count more than the first 3?
Great question.
I'd say no.
I don't think so either. It's tough though, because unless they made the first, second, and third rounds in a championship fight more than the typical standard 3-round fights.
Yeah. Can you have a lineup with no people over 9K?
I have one. I do have one. I don't like it, but I do have one.
Let's see here. Murphy or Fishgold?
The latter in that situation.
Let's see here. Best 3 on SuperDraft.
Ooh. I wish I didn't get SuperDraft at the time. I would have done one. I like McCann 1.3. That is juicy. I like that quite a bit. Gordon or Fishgold 1.25 or 1.4 is very nice. Belbita 1.3. Look at me, recommended two female fights. But I like it for the multipliers.
Shore or Chimaev?
Chimaev all day for me.
Top FanDuel core to build around.
McCann at 14. If she throws up a stinker, I'll be extremely disappointed because I'm pretty heavy on McCann. Chimaev at 18 is nice. Cater at 22 is a reach, but I think you need it.
Be sure to hit those thumbs up. Let's get over 200 here before we get out of here. First fight starts here in 15 minutes. Jay says, is the main event a must play on FanDuel?
Look at the salaries on FanDuel, 22 and 18 respectively. I don't know. You might be able to get away from it at FanDuel.
We got asked another SuperDraft question. The best overall play on SuperDraft.
I think you got to look at Belbita at 1.3. I just like her.
I would say Chimaev at 1.2.
Hold on. He's 1.2? Yeah. Yeah, dude. Give me that. Easy money. 1.2 for that guy? Are you crazy? Imagine putting him in a captain, Jason. So what, you get 1.7?
Yeah. Someone asked, can you play Fishgold and Gordon in the same lineup? I say no.
I don't think so.
Is Alisson a TKO, KO, or bust play? I would agree with that.
Yep. I would absolutely agree.
Would you go Shore, Murphy, or Belbita, Fishgold?
I'll say Shore, Murphy.
I feel like we answered this question, but if not, we get here. Can we fade the main event on FanDuel?
You might be able to, yeah. It's just so hard if it goes championship rounds, and I know it's not championship fight, but say it goes rounds 4 or 5. You know, it's a main event.
Rank these in order. DK Cash, Shore, Cater, Chimaev, Alisson.
Hold up. Slow down. Do it again.
Shore, Cater, Chimaev, Alisson, DK Cash.
I'll go Chimaev all day long and Cater. I like those two guys.
Yeah. we've got a lot of questions about Hassan's weight cut. I'm not too concerned with it.
You don't know though.
But here's what I wonder about.
Okay.
Could he have continued to cut weight, or did it just kind of stop?
Like laziness.
Yeah, that's always a question mark. You always have to wonder about it. Unless you're in the camp, that's the only people really know.
Nobody knows. Okay, let me tell you how bad weight cuts happen. Terrible diet, holding too much weight and trying to cut too much weight, in a short amount of time. An injury, not taking the fight seriously, or just pure laziness. That's it. And who knows that other than him and his coaches? You don't.
Let's get a couple more questions in here, Pete, before we get out of here. Shore or Al-Hassan DK single entry?
Okay, if you're going single entry, right? Shore literally could hold a seminar tonight. He really could. I like Shore at 9,400.
Best value pick for the 100K tournament on DK?
Under what? 8?
Under best value pick for the 100K tournament.
I like McCann. If you think Elliott, right? I wish we had it up. You think Elliott is the Elliott of old? Don't you think he should be priced higher than what he is? Like that could be honestly a steal, and I know that's your boy, but he could be a guy who can break the slate. Let's go through it. Elliott, McCann,
Chimaev,
Kattar, and Al-Hassan, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about breaking the slate. You have to be looking at grapplers. And grapplers who advance on the ground.
Okay, so who's takedown city potential? Elliott and Chimaev?
Mm-hmm.
That's about it, right? Shore?
Yeah.
That's nice. If you can get those three, that's nice.
Yeah. We'll try to get maybe Jojua or Murphy straight up DraftKings GPP.
Straight up Murphy. I have no Jojua, which is crazy. No Jojua.
Man, I'll tell you what, based on the chat, it seems like a lot of people are going against Al-Hassan tonight.
Dude, they like Lazez. I think it could be the narrative too, right? Like you don't want like a Greg Hardy type of thing. You don't want to roster Greg Hardy. You can't really compare those two, but you know what I'm saying.
Jojua, this comes, says one question. Jojua fine as last piece on DraftKings.
God, I don't want to take Jojua. You want to take Jojua?
No.
Okay. I hope Jojua doesn't do anything because 1.53 strikes per minute, absorbs 3 strikes a minute, does have 2.41 takedowns in 15 minutes. She fought Sarah Morris. I think that Belbita is better than Sarah Morris. It's just, I do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's we're all going to see is Pete. We're 10 minutes away from the fight starting. ESPN Plus, of course, as I mentioned, we'll be back tomorrow night for the strategy show for UFC Fight Night. Figueiredo versus Benavidez. And then, of course, on Saturday we will have live before lock. Of course, be sure to give Pete a follow on Twitter at Pete the Heat MMA. I'm at Jason_Floyd. Of course, you can interact with us during the fights. Of course, be sure to follow Awesemo on Twitter as well. Awesemo_com. Also, be sure to follow the MMA handle as well. So that is going to wrap it up for live before lock for UFC Fight Island #1.